Unavoidable, that's what he is. Unavoidable, that's who he is. That's why people, it's believable. Someone so untouchable is Terence, Bud Crawford too. What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And the discussion today is Terence Bud Crawford. The title, of course, is the number one untouchable, and it seems like it has been that way for Terence Crawford ever since he stepped foot into the welterweight division. Unfortunately, guys, we have the welterweight division, which a lot of promoters are patenting or monopolizing weight classes. Okay, like Al Heyman, he has the welterweight division. He does. He has Sean Porter, he has Danny Garcia, he has Errol the Truth Spence, he has Keith Thurman, he has Yordenis Ugas. He has a lot of talent there at the welterweight division. And with those five guys, he can make a lot of money off those five guys, along with other guys that are lower tiers than those guys that I just mentioned. Okay, he has that. Whereas you have guys like Bob Arum. Bob Arum, he has a kind of a fluctuating weight advantage when it comes to fighters. He has the lightweight, he has Teofimo, he has Lomachenko. Um, he has those particular guys. He still, believe it or not, has Terence Crawford. He has guys like Kubrat Pulev, Tyson Fury on up and forth. Eddie Hearn, of course, he's the heavyweight guy. He has all these type of fighters that he has fighting for him. Now, what it is, it's Terence Crawford is in a situation where his promotional company, first of all, don't give a damn about him, which is sad. You know, um, it's really sad. You guys hit the like button that's coming through. Unless you're just coming in to see what I'm saying and you don't like what I'm saying, and in that case, you can get the hell out. But for those who would like to hear about Terence Crawford and why he's Mr. Untouchable, is because he's a guy from a foreign land that people don't really want to deal with, honestly. Terence Crawford is that guy that, coming from a lower weight class, you think that's the guy you want to take out quickly. You want to take Terence Crawford out quick, fast, because he doesn't belong there. You have to show him, hey, you don't belong here. That would be the appropriate thing to do when someone like Terence Crawford enters the division. You see what I'm saying? Prove him, bully him, show him, hey, you're in the wrong weight class, buddy. Get the fuck out or go home. Your home is the last weight class that you visited. Go back there. Reign there, right? The same thing they're pretty much doing to Usyk, but Usyk is fighting his way through things, in a different weight class. But Terence Crawford is getting held because he's coming up against a monopoly. A tyrant. Al Heyman is a tyrant. He is. He's one of those guys that, hey, he has the fighters that he has. He doesn't really need anybody. The island of fighters that he has, he can do whatever he wants to do with them. If you guys can recall, Terence Bud Crawford, Lee Suley, sub counterpunch to you, brother. Counterpunch Lee. Counterpunch to you, bro. Terence Crawford confronted Errol Spence at a fight. I can't remember which one. Um, and he asked, like, okay, well, who does Al Heyman? I mean, who is he? Because that's what Errol Spence started saying, after I'm my own boss, this, that, and the other. But he wasn't saying that day. In fact, what was he saying? Oh, well, he said I could fight Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, right? And then he ended up fighting Sean Porter. Manny Pacquiao, he hasn't fought Manny Pacquiao, but that looks like it could happen after the performance last night of Danny Garcia, which was a very impressive performance. The most important thing about the performance is that Errol Spence is back and he's capable of fighting at a top level. or above average level. Cameron Teals, Errol offered Crawford 60-40. Yeah, he offered him 60-40. He did. He offered him 60-40. What do you think about that? Do you think Terence Crawford should have taken it? Just a question. It's not rhetorical. So, Errol Spence, and basically, Errol Spence, Kurt counterpunch to you, good sir. Is it me, or does Errol Spence fight way better competition than Crawford? No, Errol Spence is in a situation where I'm glad you asked that question, Adam. He's in a situation where the top guys that are recognized as top fighters, Haymon, he controls. Okay, so it's easy for someone to say, okay, and what we've learned from fighters, it's easy for someone to say that, hey, Terence Crawford is not fighting better opposition. Okay, Terence Crawford just beat a bigger, stronger guy in Kell Brook. Who did Kell beat? That was significant. One of the top fighters, right? Sean Porter. When Sean Porter was undefeated, when Sean Porter was a champion also at the IBF, okay, right? He beat Porter. Isn't Porter a top fighter? Answer that question. Just a question. Do you guys think Sean Showtime Porter is a top fighter at the PBC in the welterweight division? Yes. Okay. Jim Brown, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Okay. Well, Terence Crawford took that man out. And I know people saying, well, he had a broken eye bone. Okay. Well, he had a broken eye bone when he went in there with Errol Spence. What are you saying? Oh, well, he broke the other bone. No, the skull is only one bone. Only one bone. It was already broken when he went in there. It's easier to break something that's already been broken or fractured, rather. Fractured. That's the word. Okay. So Kell Brook, he beats Kell Brook. Okay. And the Kell Brook has only fought Errol Spence and Sean Porter, and Kell Brook beat Sean Porter. So he beat one or two out of those PBC fighters, right? Okay. Terence Crawford beat that guy. Okay. Now this is where it gets tricky. Okay. About the competition. Jose Benavidez. Who is Jose Benavidez fought in the PBC lineup? Has he fought Danny Garcia? Has he fought Sean Porter? Has he fought Keith Thurman? Has he fought Errol Spence? Has he fought that guy? Just Jose Benavidez. All we know, the guy was an undefeated fighter, and he wanted the smoke of Terence Crawford. Very true. I have feelings these guys don't want to fight Crawford. Well, this is the thing. People say that Terence Crawford hasn't fought the best guys, but then here's the problem. It's those guys, Jeff Horn, Jose Benavidez, who else? Mean Machine, another undefeated fighter. And who else did he fight? He fought someone else. Am I missing someone? I know I am. Mean Machine, Jose Benavidez, Amir Khan, right? Did you see the Matchroom video casting doubt on Usyk's accusation regarding Chisora's gloves? What's your take? I haven't seen it, Mick. I will counterpunch it if I read it. Matter of fact, inbox me, because I appreciate you guys inboxing me on Instagram. I don't mind that. Just inbox me and let me know the stuff that you're asking me, because if I haven't seen it, I can't counterpunch on it. And I'm not going to do anything that I don't have knowledge of. That's just stupid. But these fighters like Jeff Horn and these guys like that, how would they look if they had a tournament of just the guys that Terence Crawford fought? Mean Machine. Do you think Mean Machine could beat Danny Garcia? You see what I'm saying? Or Thurman? And what we're learning about different fighters matching up, you have so many different results, and the type of results that you thought that you'd have, you don't have, and we don't get. Okay? So it is what it is. It's like with Terence Crawford, the fighters he's fought, hasn't fought the series of fighters, so we have nothing really to compare it to. And it's not really fair to Terence Crawford because he's fighting undefeated fighters. Jeff Horn, undefeated. Jose Benavidez, undefeated. Mean Machine, undefeated. Kell Brook and Amir Khan. He's been busy. But guess what? He stopped all of these guys. Okay, since he stopped all of these guys, that looks more dominant than Errol Spence just going 12 fucking rounds, right, with top fighters. He looks good doing it. He proves that he belongs, but really, how good do you rate a person that goes, especially with Sean Porter, a split decision, right? He did catch him, and I think that was the defining factor. But if he fought Sean Porter again, do you think Sean Porter, you know what I'm saying? Like Sean Porter could possibly decision Errol Spence because he's not showing that dominance. You see what I'm saying? He's just showing he's a very tough, big, hard, plotting fighter. He showed skill and flexibility yesterday. He did do that last night. He did show that, hey, he has great footwork. You know what I mean? And I got a whole different live video to talk about of Errol Spence, because I know it's a huge factor with Errol Spence that made him a lot different in this fight than other fights. But the opposition of fighters, Errol Spence hasn't fought those guys except for Terence Bud Crawford. And fair to say, if you want to compare Kell Brook to and Kell Brook's performance of both guys, okay, who do you think looked more impressive, Terence Crawford or Errol Spence? Because that's the one fight we can't compare because they both fought that guy. So those are questions you ask yourself. Is it bad for me to like all the fighters in the division? Haha, I love watching Spence and Crawford work. It's like a beautiful musical performance. Same way with the heavyweights. Yeah. You know, getting in the ring is something else. People admitting who is another thing. Counterpunch from Derby, England. Luke. Counterpunch to you, brother. No problem. Legend of all sheet. No offense how you are rating in a potential A level guy stopping B to C level competition in 3 divisions. I mean, here's the thing. The accomplishments, Terence Crawford has more accomplishments. Terence Crawford is a Hall of Famer. They're both undefeated. But Errol Spence has not shown us that body of work just being in one weight class. He hasn't showed me. He's just showing me he's good in one division. Okay, so Terence Crawford has a more decorated career than Errol Spence. You can't fight 2 guys and be Billy Badass. You can't do that. You see what I'm saying? Look, Sean Porter, split decision. He stopped Kell Brook. Cool. Which he was damaged because the fight before that, he had his face broken already. Fractured already from Triple G. He shouldn't even went up there, but it is what it is. Now, who's to say that Errol Spence couldn't break his skull? I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is it was already damaged. Kell Brook took some time off, got himself back together, and then he went in there with Terence Crawford because he hadn't been beat since he got back in there with Terence Crawford. So if anything, Kell Brook shows that I think he's a B- fighter. And I think when he steps up, when he shouldn't have fought Golovkin anyway, it was just stupid. I didn't like that. And I had to counterpunch Triple G for that because, see, Triple G, what he did was he criticized Canelo for Amir Khan coming up to fight Canelo. But then he does the same shit. Hypocrite. Right? You know, I got to call it down the middle. That's how you do it. He was a fucking hypocrite for that. He shouldn't even took the Kell Brook fight. I don't care if Chris Eubank fight fell through. I don't care. He shouldn't have took a fight with a smaller guy, especially criticizing another guy that's your rival of doing. It's not right. It's just not right. Usyk is overrated. Let's get Joyce versus Usyk 2. Joyce trained with Sulam with the Shaolin monks. So let's see how that fight would go. Their amateur bout was controversial. No way around it. How is it controversial? Did you see that fight? Okay, guys. Okay, I need an opinion. Did anybody see Usyk versus Joe Joyce in the WSB tournament? Did anyone see that? Because I need a second opinion. Did anyone see that? Okay, Paul. Usyk smoked Joyce in the WSB. I need more opinions. Let me have them because me and Comatose we're going to agree to disagree. You watched the whole thing. Did you think it was controversial? Who else thought that was a controversial fight? I'm leaving that up to the public because, you know, it's just me and your opinion, Comatose, and I don't think that's enough. We have to vote, okay? Because see, at this point, I saw that fight. And where did Usyk? Here we go. Usyk dismantled Joyce. Okay, there's another one. That's 2. Actually, that's 3-1. I want to see Usyk versus Joshua. Okay, cool. All right. Yes, outboxed him in a clear win. Okay, that's 4. I saw it too. Benjamin, what do you think about it? Good. I'm glad you saw it. What do you think about it? It was close. Well, I mean, here's the problem with that. I seen that fight, and I seen Usyk put on a clinic. I seen Usyk beating that man with skill and consistency. So I don't see what did he hit Usyk with that made Usyk go, oh shit. When did it change? You know what I mean? Look, Usyk threw a lot of punches. And it's hard to throw a lot of punches and not get hit like Usyk wasn't getting hit. Not saying he wasn't getting hit at all, but what I'm saying is that's how you leave yourself open when you're throwing punches at person. You know, I guess the best defense is a good offense or whatever, but he was doing both at the same damn time. He was still getting out of the way on those angles, stepping back, coming back in, boop, boop, coming back, giving them angles. Usyk beat the hell out of Joyce. Read this message below. That one accidentally pressed the send Luke. Usyk beat Joyce. Okay, that's like 5-1. But I think it'll be more interesting now if more rounds and experience under both men's belt. You know what, Elias? You got a point right there. Because Joe Joyce showed anything, he shows stamina, right? His stamina is awesome. But then have you seen Usyk's stamina decline? You know what I mean? But it's different. Look. It's 2 factors and 2 benefits on both sides. I know we can say that. But with those 2 guys, man, Usyk showed him. And it just made Usyk look better because Usyk already been in there with him and showed him what was what. To be honest, I felt like Danny Garcia was paid to not throw punches. Either that or he's nowhere close to being top elite. I mean, who said he was elite now? Who said he was an elite fighter? He's just a PBC fighter. That's the only difference. Split decision with Keith Thurman, split decision with Sean Porter. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But then here's the problem. Here's the problem, though. Danny Garcia got beat up by Errol Spence. Errol Spence, that was unanimous decision. Cool. He beat him up. But see, Danny Garcia has not proved himself to be. You don't prove yourself from almost losing. You have to win some of these damn fights. You know what I mean? And all of them are really, to me, they're all neck and neck. And Errol Spence is like a notch, just one notch above both of them. Well, above Sean Porter. He hasn't fought Keith Thurman yet, but definitely Sean Porter because they had a tough fight. Okay, Danny Garcia fought Sean Porter. It was a good fight too. But then here's the thing. How much credit can you give someone almost? You know what I'm saying? But then you can't discredit them totally because Danny Garcia did fight Keith Thurman to a split decision. Loss. Now you can say, well, Errol Spence beat him more decisively than both of them. Okay, cool. But again, that's Errol Spence. Right? Errol Spence is a guy that needs to who else should he fight? Sean Porter again? Look, I guarantee you, this is my prediction on Errol Spence because Terence Crawford he has to be avoided because he's too much of a threat being an outsider. I don't care what's going on with him and Bob Arum and none of that. And that lets you know that Errol Spence really didn't care about who he signed with. He don't want to fight him. He's untouchable. Usyk will be way too small for Fury, Joshua, and Wilder, though. I doubt it. I doubt that. He'd just be a regular fucking heavyweight, just like the heavyweights of old. He's like 6'3" or whatever. He's taller than people like Holyfield. Holyfield fought Lennox Lewis. You know what I'm saying? It happens. It happens. Slight tendencies. Counterpunch to you. Did you see where they said Spence walks around at 190? That's a lot of weight. Counterpunch to you. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, they showed, and here's the thing. They showed Bud Crawford at the fight last night. But they did not want to interview Bud Crawford. They didn't want to give another fighter from another another promotional company any airtime. Have you noticed that? They were like, well, yeah, you know, I mean, look, any other outfit would have said, hey, Terence Crawford is in the audience right now, Errol Spence. What do you say to Terence Crawford? You know what I'm saying? That never happened. That shows you the bullshit that they do over there. I'll say this. I'll say this to say the least. At least they mentioned him along with the rest of the welterweight champions. Because remember, they didn't do that before. Before Pacquiao fought Thurman, they didn't even do that. They totally pretended like the WBO was not even an organization. So at least they did show respect to Terence Crawford being a champion. Because I thought that was bullshit. That was that secondhand bullshit. You know what I mean? That's like, well, you're the best man in the room. You're not being mentioned. Yeah, we know it's Terence. We don't have to say that. We're not paid to say that. You know what I'm saying? Danny is just a good scrapper. Yeah. And I don't think he's really motivated enough. Danny got the money. And that's the thing about Al Haymon. Al Haymon pays those fighters well. Look at your Dennis Ugas. He's on a yacht somewhere in like Rockwall, not Rockwall. Is it Rockwall? Yeah, it's Rockwall in Dallas over there. He's chilling with his honey. You know what I mean? On a mini yacht, okay? Chilling. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, he's a WBA regular. But Al Haymon pays these fighters good enough to keep them where they need to be here. He keeps them good in their pockets and up here in their brains. Like, look, Al Haymon takes care of me. You heard Angel Garcia. If you guys didn't hear it, let me retort. Angel Garcia said, I give my life for Al Haymon. I give my life for Al Haymon. Right? Whoa. Whoa. That's some strong words. You give your life to Al Haymon. That means Al Haymon is taking care of his fighters. That means he doesn't want his fighters to go astray. Okay? So that's what Al Haymon does. He pays you well to fight less opposition, or the opposition that he feels that he can make for you. If he can't make it for you, there won't be any other opposition. That's the problem with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is not over there. Terence Crawford is an outsider. Terence Crawford, again, is untouchable. Okay? Because if someone like that does... Do you guys understand what's going on and like what happened really February 22nd? And I'm using that as an example. When Tyson Fury, being an ESPN fighter, beat Deontay Wilder being a PBC fighter, and Al Haymon had Deontay Wilder for the longest time. Okay? And I'm not talking about Billy Joe. He's been there for the longest time, and he knew he had him, and he thought, that's a clear cut. He beat Ortiz. He should be able to beat Fury. He did not beat Fury. That was the problem. All this shit that been created is because Al Haymon has lost a leg of income, because now a loss is a leg of uncertainty. Okay? That's all it is. It's a leg of uncertainty. You don't know what Wilder's going to do now. He lost the WBC belt. He's lost for the first time in his career. That's against the Mayweather code of the biblical ethics. You know, on page 5 of that book, right? He lost his so he doesn't really know how to market him. Whereas now he's really close and knit on Errol Spence. Look how Errol Spence was talking last night. I'm not worried about Terence Crawford. Yeah, he need to stick by his word by not coming to my fights, because I ain't coming to his fights. That's exactly what he said. Don't come to my fights if I don't mean nothing. They asked you, do you want to fight him? No. No, you don't. That is what it is. So this is what we have. But you think that's just Errol Spence? That's not just Errol Spence. That's Al Haymon. Because now Al Haymon has pushed Errol Spence to the forefront. He is one of the new faces, or the premier faces of Premier Boxing Champions, the PBC. Why? Because he fits all the criteria, people. Okay? Terence Crawford, again, ain't over there. So that's not Errol Haymon's problem. He ain't going to worry about Terence Crawford and what dealing with Bob Arum, that Bob Arum now don't even like him. So Errol Haymon, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. You know, he should have came over here. But in hindsight, he's not over there. So what Errol Haymon does, Errol Haymon worries about his own fighters and his own stable because he knows they're under his control. As long as they're under his control, that's what he's worried about. Okay, and then he told, but look, he's already coached him. Look, don't say nothing about Terence Crawford. If Terence Crawford shows up, he informed the commentators. The commentators might have been pushing it by saying that he was in the audience, people. Counterpunch. Okay, that's exactly what it is. D-Town Blaster, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Hope everyone is having a good day. Man, I'm having a great day. Talking about this Errol Spence versus this untouchable Terence Crawford. See, a lot of people don't want to fight him, and Terence Crawford, the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, should deserve at least a 50-50. How the fuck you look like you're giving a pound-for-pound #1 fighter? Okay, let me ask you guys this question. Do you guys think Errol Spence is better pound-for-pound than Terence Crawford? Just by yes or no. Derek Harris, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Jamie R, it is. I mean, I think it was already worse than the WWF. No way. Okay, keep going. Let me get yes or no answers. Do you guys think that Errol Spence is better pound for pound than Terence Crawford? Okay, so why? Okay, so to answer the question of he wants 60-40. You know why he wants 60-40? Because Errol Haymon told him 60-40. That's the only way that they will make or go out on a limb to make a fight like that. You see what I'm saying? Now, that's a way of telling a person, hey, take it or leave it. You see what I'm saying? So, no, he doesn't want that fight. Javi, go. It's obvious that Spence. Okay, no, he doesn't. See, look at the no's come in. And if I see a yes, okay, cool. Tell me why. We ain't doing any, you get out, just ban him, time out. No. I just want to know why. If you guys think Spence is better than Terence Crawford. So if we can agree that or enough of us can agree that Terence Crawford is better than Errol Spence pound for pound, why in the fuck does he have to settle for 40%? Errol Spence ain't been where Terence Crawford's been. He ain't been there at all. You know what I mean? And Melvin Todd, here's the thing, Melvin. What negates, what clarifies him, or what qualifies him to fighting a better opposition? Have the guys that he fought the guys that Terence Crawford fought? The only person that did it was Kell Brook, and he's 1-1. Who am I talking about? He beat Sean Porter, which Errol Spence beat also, and he got beat by Errol Spence. That's the only two PBC fighters that he's fought. He ain't fought Terence, he ain't fought Keith Thurman, he ain't fought Danny Garcia, so you can't go there. So again, what are we talking about? Terence Crawford has. Ask yourself this question: Who beat Kell Brook better, Errol Spence or Terence Crawford? Melvin Todd, who do you think? CL, PBC lives in their own little world. See, the fighters live in their own little world, but Errol Haymon's world. They're in their own little mindset, living in that world. They're like someone from North Korea. Okay? They're like North Koreans, that they're brainwashed to think a certain way, and that's how it is. It's just Errol Haymon takes a lot better care of these people, fighters, than, North Korea that I hear. Okay? That's the difference. That's the difference right there. KK, I used to think that Spence will beat Crawford, but not again. Look, I never thought that, because when I saw Sean Porter, no, it wasn't even Sean Porter. I looked at the Kell Brook fight. He can't deal with somebody Danny Garcia was tailor-made. He doesn't have really good footwork, but I think that goes hand in hand with him never going down to the canvas. Excuse me, because he doesn't have to, he has to be balanced to throw punches. If you look how Danny Garcia throws punches, his feet have to be solid on the ground a lot of times, unless he's throwing a straight right or something. And then that's when he's coming off on his heel, twerking his hips to create that torque to throw that punch. But other than that, he's throwing hooks. He's flat-footed. He's a flat-footed fighter. Errol Spence had him. Makes good bat noodles. Ugh. Mammals. Mammal food. It's more like the Matrix, and Al Heyman is doing the coding. There you go. Great analogy. You know, but understand, a guy, Mr. Untouchable, Terence Crawford, that's him. That's his new name. It ain't Bud Crawford to me. It's Untouchable. Nobody wants to fuck with this guy. They don't want to fuck with him. And then see, Al Heyman will do this. He'll do that Andy Ruiz shit. He will throw someone like, he'll throw Danny Garcia at him now, because Danny Garcia's lost value after his loss. He'll throw Sean Porter at him now. That's why Sean Porter's saying, I'll fight you, right? Because see, at this point, Al Heyman knows there's a hierarchy, people. It's a hierarchy in the PBC. And Errol Spence is up there. He's above Wilder, because Wilder lost, right? He's that top guy up there now. He's beat everybody, and he's still unbeaten to this day. To this day. To this day. He's unbeaten. So he's up there on the hierarchy. Crawford will beat Errol easier. Michael Shaw's, he won't, because he won't fight him. Theoretically, sure, I get it. You know, there's reasons. Al Heyman knows talent. Al Heyman knows that Terence Crawford is the guy to be untouchable. He is not to be fucked with. Do not go anywhere near Terence Crawford. And if he does, mind you, Al Heyman, this is what he's going to do. It's like the film industry. It's like the competition of having actors. If you guys don't know about acting, but it's a great comparison. It's about talent, okay? So if you were with Acclaim talent and you wanted to go to Linda McAllister from Acclaim, well, Linda McAllister and Acclaim were always competing against each other anyway. So if you decide to leave Acclaim, and then the people that you were going up against in Linda McAllister's agency, what they'll do, they will hire you or get you, sign you, just to keep you away from other auditions that they know primarily the person they had there originally is going to go. So in other words, if Terence Crawford went to the PBC, I fear, this is my prediction, I fear that they're going to throw him all these fighters, which he's already proved himself at welterweight to me, because the fighters, 3 out of 4 of those fighters, 3 out of 4 of those fighters were undefeated. He's fought 5 times, and he's stopped all of them. Every fucking last one of them. Terence Crawford has beat. Tell me how that ain't impressive, coming from 140. Normally somebody from 140 beats him on decision because they're smaller guys, right? Counterpunch. Make that shit make sense. Make that shit make sense. Look, Terence Crawford was a smaller dude coming from 140. Let's put it this way. How do you guys rate Mikey Garcia? How do you guys rate Mikey Garcia? Just a question. 1 to 10. How do you rate Mikey Garcia as a fighter? Because a lot of people like to, come at me and like, hey man, gotta counterpunch you because he's like a 6, a 5, a 7. Okay, give me some more numbers. I want some feedback. Buddy, he's a 10. Okay, Scottish Charm, he's a 2. Okay, overrated but very smart outside the ring. 7 through 10. Okay, Junior, he's an 8, 6. 8. Okay, cool. 7 for Sir T-Bag. Cool. Okay. 8 for Junior. All right. Now, that was a guy that was at 140 once upon a time. He was fighting at 135, then jumped back over 140 to fight Errol Spence. He's a 6. He's a 7. He's a 6.5. Young Khalid, Packers fan, 6.5. 135, he was a 10. I like how you answered that. Good counterpunch, because that's at a certain weight class, right? 135. He was a 10 at 135. Fight News, he's a 7. Okay. Now, let's see. Now, Derek Harris, 7 at 140. Cool. But again, he went from 135 and he skipped over 140 to take on Errol Spence at 147. Right? Not only did he get beat, but what did he do after that? What did he do after that? Boxing Lodges United. What's up, brother? Peace and pugilism. Always. Counterpunch to you. Spence, southpaw stance is better than Crawford's. It's supposed to. He's a fucking southpaw. Counterpunch. He's supposed to be better. He's a southpaw. He's an Oscar De La Hoya over here. That's what he does. That's who he is. Just Terence Crawford is really good at being a southpaw. Don't mean he is a really good southpaw. Come on now. That's rather petty. That's reaching. Right? 8. Okay, at 135. Okay, now. Mikey Garcia was beating guys at 135. Right? He was beating them convincingly. Terence Crawford was stopping him. 140, Terence Crawford was stopping him. 147, he stopped everybody in the welterweight division. Being from 135 to 140 to 147, the same fucking weight class as Mikey Garcia. And you guys have just rated him top. I might got one number 2, right? So again, Terence Bud Crawford, why is this man to this day still untouchable? Oh, they were quick to fight little ass Mikey, wouldn't they? Coming from 140, because a lot of people, well, he really came from 140. You know, dude, you smoking premium plastic. How so? How so? Premium plastic better be a new type of reefer. How so? So, Terence Crawford can fight all these dudes in these weight classes. Bud is Errol's kryptonite, right? And he's stopping these dudes. Then got every fucking belt at 140, cleaned up like Thanos, and then came to 147 and kicked every ass since then. That's why he's pound for pound. So again, compared to someone like Mikey Garcia, which fought Errol Spence too. Errol Spence, I'd fight Mikey Garcia. He wanted to fight Mikey Garcia but Al Haymon told him to. He wanted the Mexican fan base. That's what he wanted. He had no problem fighting and beating up on a smaller dude. Premium oregano. Well, Danny moved up to 147. Everybody wanted to smoke him. Yeah, everybody wanted to smoke him. Yeah, that's right. They did, and they got him. But what did Danny do up there? What did Danny do at 147? Who did he beat? Paula Malignaggi, been beat. Who else? Lamont Peterson. I think Lamont Peterson beat Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia's face looked fucked up in that fight. He's not new to scars and bruises. He's just a tough Philly kid. Fights with sticks, stones, and bottles in the streets of Philly. That's the word up there. Bernard Hopkins. Right? So, again, compared to, now we're throwing Danny Garcia in that. You want to compare Danny Garcia to Terence Crawford? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's not, Stuart McNabb. Shout out to you, brother, from the UK. MG. Appreciate you. He beat Khan. Yeah, he did beat Khan. He did beat Khan. You are absolutely, positively correct. But where did he beat Khan at? He beat Khan at 140. We're talking about 147. Because this is the migration of these fighters and what they did at certain weight classes. The higher up you go, the harder it gets. The fighters are bigger. 147 is the biggest of the little people. Okay? It's the biggest of the little people. Derek Harris. Bud would have had Errol's head like a speed bag from any stance. Yeah. I mean, he would have, look, Errol Spence knows. And if he don't know, his manager or advisor knows. But he went as far as saying, my manager, okay. And then here's the thing. If Errol Spence is his own boss, well, you're just telling us you don't want to fight the best. Which everybody and he knows the best is Terence Crawford. He is the elephant in the room. He is untouchable. Adam Cram, I believe you all the way about that. Billy Joe Saunders would beat Canelo just like Lara beat Canelo. What Canelo will start doing, he'll start being outboxed by someone, a slicker guy, slicker, taller, longer reach guy, just like Lara was. And then guess what? At the end of the day, they're going to give it to Canelo because Canelo's going to start getting frustrated and start working the body. He's going to turn into, he's going to emulate a Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. That's what he's going to do. Yunus Khalid, Crawford want stop Danny or Porter. Facts. He want stop or he will. I don't get what you're saying. You mean will not stop Danny or Porter? We don't know that. Now, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. At this point, though, Terence Crawford, he's already started a trend. He started down a path of fighting Errol Spence's fighters. But here's the thing, to be fair, you can't really say that's Errol Spence's leftovers because Kell Brook also beat Sean Porter. So it's not fair. You can't have it both ways. See, if you say, oh, he's fought his leftovers, but then that same guy beat Sean Porter. So isn't it both of those guys? They're just really a common opponent between the fighters. And if you keep beating guys like Terence Crawford's beating these guys and stopping these guys, pretty soon you're going to beat someone that someone else has already fought. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. It has to be more of that in the welterweight division. It has to be more than that. Everyone has to fight everyone to see where everyone is at. And see those guys like Benavidez and what's his name? Jeff Horn. He's at 154 now, so he's out. He's been beaten. But see, that's what happens when you finally get cracked. And in Terence Crawford is another thing, and they did this to Floyd too. When they get beat, when certain fighters get beat, they're never the same. They're never the same. Now, you could argue maybe Kell Brook was never the same after Golovkin. You could say that. But then again, you could also say that, Jeff Horn went balls to the wall. Crawford won't stop. Buddy Gunner, thank you, brother, for the super chat donation. When Terence Crawford beat Yuriorkis Gamboa, was he really the same after that? When he beat Postal, was he really the same after that? See, these are questions. Like some of these guys will get broken. They get broken. They're not the same. These guys, it's just something in the DNA. They lose. They just lost it. They got this idea like, yo, I got beat and I'm not really that guy anymore. Some guys come back. Some guys don't. Jeff Horn, Jose Benavidez, he was knocked out in the 12th round. Classic uppercut. He took him all fucking fight to set it up, but he did that in a very good fight. Jose Benavidez was a good fighter. I mean, he touched Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, so did Mean Machine. But understand, these guys were undefeated. He's taking them guys. He's taking that O from these guys. Okay? That's what's happening. Khan sells his chin to the highest bidder. He does. He absolutely does. Khan thinks big. I don't get your logic. You're saying this is 147, and you and I know Crawford has fought no one at 147. Stop right there. Who's to say Jose Benavidez? Jose is no one. Jeff Horn was no one. He gave Manny Pacquiao hell. I think Manny Pacquiao beat him because I think in the 9th round. But again, he still gave Manny Pacquiao problems in 16. This is 2016, right? Or was it 17? One of them years. He still gave him problems, though. Okay, so make that shit make sense. Terence Crawford came up there and cleaned it up. He took care of, he was the problem solver. Okay, and that's Jeff Horn. That's an undefeated guy, like 19-0 at the time. And you're hyping him up against Spence. Okay, Spence has beat Kell Brook, broken fucking eye, split decision with Sean Porter, and he's beat Danny Garcia. Again, who is the best person on that resume? That's my question to you. Click, click, boom, 1, 2, 3. Hyping him up for his accomplishment outside of the 147. See, that's what I'm saying. Your resume don't fucking begin when you get to a certain weight class. The only problem you have is with Errol Spence. This is the question you should be asking. Errol Spence couldn't be a pound-for-pound fighter because he's only been in one weight class. He's just too limited. There's nothing to really compare him to. besides the people that he's fought. And it took him a long time to get fighters, and he still ain't fought Keith Thurman. And I bet you that'll be a fight that people are talking about. You know what I mean? But just because you have those fighters there, the premier boxing champions, don't mean that there's not other heavyweights in the division. That those guys, of course, haven't fought, and they don't fight them because of Al Haymon. That's where I'm getting up. How the fuck am I? I'm not hyping up Terence Crawford. These are facts. Terence Crawford has stopped everybody up there being the smaller guy. I mean, can we agree to that? You know, if Errol Spence went to 154 and starts stopping everybody, wouldn't that be fucking 5 people? If he went up there and beat Jermell Charlo, Erislandy Lara, who else is up there? Tony Harrison. Who else is at 154? Dang, there's really not a lot of people left up there. Okay, Gerald Swift Hurd, if he stopped all these guys, he went there and stopped them all being a smaller fighter, wouldn't that be impressive? Green Hulk Dunham. Look, I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, but he's far from the man, because he has to beat the man to be the man. And he's not trying to hear that shit. He ain't trying to fight him. Oh, Packer fan 12. Last I checked, Bud has a belt at 147, and Errol Spence says he wants the undisputed. What changed? Al Haymon changed his mind for him. That's what changed. That's all. Scance Rants. This anti-PBC rhetoric is ridiculous. How Crawford the best when his resume is comparable to Garcia? Okay. All right. Well, who did Garcia beat? Who did Garcia beat? He beat Khan. He beat Zab Judah. Who else? He beat Paula Malignaggi. Right? Okay, Scance Rants 2. Who do you think are the top 5 fighters at welterweight? And look, Spence has proved that he's ducking Terence Bud Crawford. He's ducking him. He is. Look, it'll come out. It'll come to light. Danny struggled with Robert Guerrero. No, I think he beat Guerrero convincingly, though. Robert Guerrero didn't show him anything. And then Guerrero was later destroyed by Omar Figueroa. You know what I'm saying? And he knew, Robert Guerrero knew, I can't do this shit no more. Let me stay home with my wife. But Floyd took that guy apart. So that's this difference between guys like that. You got all this smoke for Spence, but none for Manny Pacquiao, David Taylor. How so? Manny Pacquiao can get counterpunched. But understand something, though, man. Manny Pacquiao, let's talk about Manny Pacquiao, David Taylor. Manny Pacquiao, his ass wanted $20 million to fight Terence Crawford. 20. Crawford signed with DAZN is the end of his career, ass Andre. I didn't say he should sign with DAZN. Who said that? That would be dumb. There's nobody to fight over there. Who is he going to fight over there? Jesse Vargas? No, that's not going to work. Okay, look, when Manny was at top rank, Terence Crawford at top rank, that fight was going to happen. Terence Crawford was down. He's always been down to fight Manny Pacquiao. Okay, Manny Pacquiao's trainer, Freddie Roach, didn't like the style matchup. He didn't. Free agent is better than the zone. Absolutely. Jay Rodriguez. So, again, 9 rounds of Crawford. Scance Ranks. Who are the top fighters in the welterweight division? Because what I seen, Bob Arum said that he stopped that fight with Manny Pacquiao. But why did Manny Pacquiao want $20 million to fight Terence Crawford, little old Terence Crawford? That just means Matchroom comes with zone. I just think PBC will set Crawford up to lose. Poor judges. Well, not if he knocks him out. Not if he knocks their ass out. See, Terrence starts fucking these people up like he's been doing. He won't have that problem, But, you know, even when he didn't do that, he beat guys like Postal. People didn't want to fight Postal. Danny Garcia didn't want to fight Postal. He went to 147. He fought guys like Samuel Vargas and shit like that. Paulo Malignaggi. Paulo Malignaggi couldn't knock anybody out. He's just a volume puncher with very little punching power at that weight. Ask Adrian Broner. He hit Adrian Broner a lot. Adrian Broner didn't feel that shit. But Adrian Broner's fair. He is tough. Crawford, a bum. Crawford's a bum? Get the fuck out of here. I second that. Crawford. All right. So, again, where are we at? Pac-Man, his sell-by date is still a legend. Yeah, he's still a legend. Scans Rants, he said Crawford's a bum. Oh, man. But what there is for PBC fighters at welterweight. Well, I mean, the welterweight division has to be liberated. It has to be liberated. And Al Haymon knows exactly what he's doing. He's paying his fighters a lot of money. And look, Spence fans, I get it. But then if you're a fan of Spence, why don't you want Spence to fight the best? He's already fought Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. Okay, you're running out of fucking people. And Manny is not there anymore. Manny has stock with the PBC, but he's not officially signed with them. He doesn't have to do what Al Haymon wants him to do now. However, they tricked his ass into believing that he was going to get a Floyd Mayweather rematch, and that was a lie. I would try to, I don't know, man. I mean, promotion is very hard because, I would end up being someone like Lou DiBella. Because now you got to talk to other people with other big fights if you had good enough fighters that can compete with those guys and give you a proper cut for your fighter. And of course, a percentage to yourself. So it would be difficult. You know what I mean? Anthony, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Using the word casual means you don't have a valid argument to back your side. Sheep. Well, they haven't done enough research to know the sport of boxing enough to know what's going on in the sport of boxing, what the fighters have accomplished, who they've beat, And the beautiful thing about boxing is always educated argument. You have people with certain points and certain, and make certain truths from facts. Okay. And then you argue those facts against someone else's, Then you have opinions. So the opinions will always be the things that keep the bridges between the facts, right? That kind of sways how the conversation is going to go. L. Rel Cool J. Could it be a conspiracy against Bud to not become undisputed at 147 due to the Mayweather-Haymon relationship? That would hurt Floyd's legacy as TBE if Bud accomplished this. Well, here's the thing. Floyd Mayweather never done that at all. He never done that anyway. So Terence Bud Crawford at 140 has done something that Floyd ain't done. Thank you for the super chat. But see, Terence Bud Crawford is not a Floyd. He didn't cocoon. Bud didn't turn into Scud. Okay? Bud didn't turn into Scud. Bud's always been Bud, and then Bud ain't good enough for Bob Arum no more. People are shitting on the guy. He wants the top guys. He has no problem fighting the top guys, and he's tired of the bullshit. What Bob Arum's mad about Terence Crawford is not just signing any old fucking contract to fight any old fucking body no more, because he's shown that from 135 to 140, which Errol Spence has never been. He's never been in any other weight classes either. Okay, so you can't even compare that. Those are just blank blocks besides that. Okay, he has a 0 rating because he hasn't been there. Okay, so Terence Crawford has. And Terence Crawford at 140 has did what fighters that are already in the Hall of Fame has never done. Okay, so that's already an accomplishment by itself. Then you come to 147, the biggest of the smaller fighters, and you start kicking every ass that people put in front of you. And now people is Bob Arum. Bob Arum has done that. And he set up all these fights and he stopped every single fighter. So how do you call somebody like that a bum, or somebody that people know he's best pound for pound, but then want to and then turn in the same breath, he isn't fighting the best competition though? Well, wait a minute. You just said this guy and it agreed this guy was best pound for pound. That's crazy. Yeah, that's fucked up. LRail Cool J, that is fucked up. Bud did that. But guess what? He wasn't the only one that did that. He ain't the only one that did that. A lot of fighters did that. Pacquiao did it for too long. You know he did it for too long. Floyd did it for a while until he said, fuck Bob. Oscar De La Hoya did it for a while and said, fuck Bob. Right? I'm out of here. I'm gone. Right? I'm the golden boy. I'm the golden boy. They love throwing salt on Mayweather with nothing but speculation. But see, the thing, Mayweather, Al Haymon, those guys, they know. You know, there was some slick shit they pulled on Manny Pacquiao. But see, here's my thing. Manny Pacquiao should get the fuck out of boxing. He should, you know what I'm saying? Like, he showed us that he's good enough at a certain age. I didn't like the punches that he was starting to take from Keith Thurman when Keith Thurman was starting to gain momentum in that fight, you know, in the later rounds, you know, until he hurt Thurman to the body. And if anybody knows anything about Keith Thurman, he's a jelly-bodied having cat. He can't take punches to the body. Ask Luis Collazo. He was the one that did it. He exposed Keith Thurman. And Manny Pacquiao, boom, right? And then made him damn near fall. You know what I'm saying? Because Keith Thurman was hurt. He can't take body punches. But I think after that, on top of that's been over a year and a half ago. Okay? That's been over a year and a half ago. You know, over a year and a half, damn near a year and a half. Let's say that because it was in June, July, right? You know, and that's a lot of time when not fighting. So he's going to come in with ring rust and stuff like that with Manny. You know, I mean, you got to ask yourself, how much do you want to do? Do you really want to go up there and fuck with someone like Errol Spence, someone hungry? See, here's my thing: selective hungriness. Absolutely agree. Manny should retire for his own sake, but even more for the sake of boxing. Yeah. You know, look, Manny. I don't want Manny to be like Roberto Duran. You know, Porter hurt Thurman to the body. Yeah, he did hurt Thurman to the body too. But see, Luis Collazo exposed that. So you know, I think because of fights like Luis Collazo, he did that. You know what I mean? Kurt, what's polls saying in the U.S. Crawford or Spence? Man, I don't know. I really don't know. I picked Terence Crawford, but then here's the thing: if it wasn't a good fight, why would we want to see it? But then here's another question you ask yourself: if Terence Crawford was a shitty fighter, or he was a fighter that I think Errol Spence thought he could beat, he would fight him. Nobody is throwing salt on Floyd. It's odd that Bud has the skill set to become a two-time undisputed champ, but the PBC is blocking history. They are blocking history, and they're blocking Terence Bud Crawford's progress. That's all. You know, when something turns into a hassle, you know, and I think to Bud is turning into a hassle because you got guys that are supposed to be on top of the world and beat Danny Garcia. Okay, you survived a fucking Ferrari flip of 11, 12 times, which was grace. Okay, that was grace, dude, that kept him here. And then he was able to recover and then do the job that he did on Danny Garcia is a very, very great accomplishment. But him not wanting to fight Terence Crawford, and he knows what people want. So let's stop the bullshit. Let's stop acting like that. You Errol Spence fans, stop trying to protect this man. See, what showed us anything last night, Errol Spence is ready for a Terence Crawford fight. Terence Crawford, you know why he was there? He was there to see what condition Errol Spence was in, because he knew and he meant and he stood by what he was saying. I don't want to fight him now because if I beat him, it'll be an excuse. But if he beats someone else, okay, he has no more excuses. But what did Errol Spence say? No. Will that hoist the super fight between you and Bud? No. He got to be a man about his word and not come to my fights because I'm going to never come to his. He don't need me. Like he said. Like, dude, they didn't fucking ask you that. He asked you, do you want to fight the fucking guy? He didn't even mention Bud like that. He didn't even call it. They say, who else would you like to fight? I just want to go back to my ranch, spend time with my family. That's all he said. That's it. And you're like, whoa, what the fuck is that? At least call out Manny Pacquiao or somebody. You know what I mean? That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign at all. That shit's, look, this is what it is. That's what makes Terence Crawford untouchable. They don't want to fuck with that guy. Terence Crawford's the real guy that wants it's strap season for him. And then see what Al does. Al wants, and he will pay Manny Pacquiao money to probably lose more than likely, unless Manny can do it again. But how many people think Manny can beat Errol Spence? Yeah, probably fucking 8 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe, yeah, 5 to 6 years ago, he probably had a good shot. Now he's 42 years old. And by the time he fights him, he'll be close to 43. Come on, bro, get fucking real. You know what I mean? And I'm not shitting on Manny. I love Manny. Manny Pacquiao. I have to fight Floyd again. Right? Love Manny. Great personality, great guy, does great for his country. He's a politician and all that shit. And he still wants to box to this day. But here's the thing. Al Haymon will pay that for Manny. Manny will fight that because I think Manny looked at both fighters. He said, Manny, he wanted $20 million to fight him. If Manny don't get $20 million for fighting Errol Spence, that tells you automatically that he knew which one was more important, which one was more dangerous. Okay, the most dangerous fight was Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is a danger to everyone. I love Manny, but I heard he was just sponsored by Ensure. He probably is. You know what I mean? He's getting older. We're only gonna look in this life. You're gonna only getting older, or you're gonna die. That's it. You're either gonna keep growing, keep learning, hopefully, keep living, unless you die. You know. No, he's not. David Taylor, Spence isn't dangerous to everyone. No, he's not. He is not dangerous to everyone. You're absolutely right. He is not. But see, the thing is, but what he's doing, that's just a cop-out. He's avoiding Terence Crawford. He was instructed not to say certain things about Terence Crawford, even though the media stepped in and then at least showed Terence Crawford about 3 or 4 times. You guys remember that? Bro, you're picking sides. You should know by now, most fighters would know, with no hesitation, it's a Al Haymon and Bob Arum issue. Man, here's the thing. Omayo. Here's the thing then. Errol Spence needs to stop. At least I'll give him this. At least he said, I need to talk to my manager. But I don't want to hear another fucking word of him saying I'm my own boss. I'm so sick of hearing that shit. Can we agree on that? Because he has a boss. His boss is his manager. And your manager, does not fucking work for you. No, you work for that motherfucker. In this case. You know what I mean? We need a Bob Arum voiceover, brother. You haven't done one for a while. The politics BS doesn't fly when they come together for Fury, Wilder. Look, the wrong guy lost. If Deontay Wilder would have beat Tyson Fury, nothing would have been said about no glove gate. The glove gate, what? Who? What the fuck is that? You mean Watergate? No, bitch. Glove gate. What's glove gate? Nobody would have gave a shit because at that point, Nobody had to give a shit. Nobody would have made up shit. Nobody would have created shit. That's it. That's all it would have been. It would have been no issue about any of that at all. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? That's a cool thing. Fortuna looked impressive. It was Fortuna. Fortuna, and he beat Robert Easter, you know what I mean, on the cool. I think he beat Robert Easter. But then again, I mean, he's a black man that comes from Dominican Republic that can't speak fucking English that well. So, a lot of people don't market him. Just like Luis Ortiz, that's a whole different thing. People talk about discrimination, but they really don't focus on discrimination. You know who's discriminated? The people that don't speak English, that doesn't have the complexion for the collection. Okay. Now that kind of sounds like Dante. No, I'm talking about real issues. Luis Ortiz, you ripped into Deontay Wilder. They gave this man 30 seconds, right? Do you think that shit was meant for him? Wilder whacked this guy on top of the head, threw him into the the corner. The referee didn't do anything. He just did this shit. No unnecessary, no roughness, or no, you know what I mean? That shit, like, whoa, your fighter, you seen one fighter throw this guy into the ground, and you said nothing. You just went over there. Come on, get up, get up, get up, get up. Right? Get up, get up, come on, get up. You know what I mean? If you thought it was a knockdown, just count the man out. Look, that type of shit. Yordenis Ugas, another example, right? Hablar español todo. Eres de Cuba. He's Cuban, okay? Well, he knocked down Sean Porter. Nobody said shit. Why? Because Sean Porter is the ambassador of the PBC. He's that. I like Sean Porter, but here's the thing. He's like the Sugar Ray Leonard of the PBC. There, I said it. So you think he's going to lose to someone like Yordenis Ugas? And I know what Al Haymon said. You know what? Hey, I'm going to I'm going to give Yordenis Ugas something, but smaller. Like, he wasn't good enough for the WBC, though. He just gets a regular title opportunity because he knew Yordenis Ugas was good enough. Now, what Al Haymon will do, he'll throw Yordenis Ugas towards Terence Crawford, which he already tried to do. Yordenis Ugas got the green light. Yo, I'll fight you. I beat you in the amateurs. That type of shit. And that would be a very, very good fight. Why? You got two skilled guys, one from the Cuban school that likes to work the body, and then Terence Crawford, the switch hitting pound for pound fighter. That would be, then they have a back history. That would be a good fight. If they made it? Fuck yeah, I'd watch it. But Al Haymon would do that because he's in high hierarchy. He wants to separate certain fighters. But then again, the whole grand scheme of things, like fighters that fight under his banner like that, he will indeed, he gives them money, but he puts them in their place due to politics. See, if that wasn't a knockdown that he hit Sean Porter with, the same type of punch Tyson Fury hit Deontay Wilder with, the only difference was he fucked Deontay Wilder up. Sean Porter, he's going to give anyone a hard fight because of the way he fights. He's just going to come in and fight you, bully you, wrestle you, and shit like that. He should have been a little fucking, he should have been a little fucking not a fullback, but, a running back or something. He charges right at you. He did a Nate. He pulled a Nate against Logan Paul's brother. You know what I mean? But Kurt, I give Glovegate has become a conspiracy, but the gloves 100% look flappy. Yeah, the first fight, they were flappy. So they're down below his wrist because they tied him down here instead of up here. Yeah, they were floppy. But were they anything in them? See, then it goes back to, okay, if there's anything in the gloves, somebody should have squeezed the motherfuckers. See, at least Derek Chisora's camp allowed Team Usyk to squeeze and touch the gloves to see, okay, there ain't shit in them that look that fucked up. They just ain't got any fucking padding in the gloves, which that ain't cool either. But at least, it ain't no Antonio Margarito shit like that, But see, we don't know anything about the first fight because everybody focused on the second fight and just threw shit from the first fight into the issue of the second fight, which that ain't fair. That's two different situations. So Rachel Davi, yeah, the shit was floppy. Big awkward ass Tyson Fury fucking flicking and shit. You know, he probably stretched that bitch out, you know, to whip it so he'll be farther away from Wilder. And then look, the glove was down here. You know what I mean? The way he's throwing that shit, you know, and then they were pushing it up because it was coming off. Al Haymon. Tabula rasa. Look, check this out. This is Al Haymon. Spence. Errol. Don't say shit. Don't say shit about Terence. Don't say shit about Bud. You say something about Bud, this whole shit over. You can forget about that Pacquiao fight, motherfucker. You just do your job. You go in there and beat the hell out of Danny out and took care of him and his daddy. His daddy loved me. His daddy gonna say he give his life for me. You do your damn job and you keep your mouth shut. You go back to your branch and that's all you're gonna tell them. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Go get out of here. You know what I mean? That's the type of shit he has, you know. And Errol Spence, yeah, you got it. I ain't saying shit. I don't like that motherfucker no way. Shit. I just got a phone with Al. I told me shit. I don't talk about nobody. Hell, you know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about nobody. You know, he trying to set it up. I let him do what he do. He set him up. I'm gonna knock him down. Shit, I ain't got to worry about nothing. Shit, we gonna be good. Shit, we still Gucci. Shit, I'm gonna have anybody go down to this jury store buy me another thing. It's gonna start Savage on it. I'm gonna have Savage on that motherfucker. I'm a savage. I survived a car accident. Shit, they know I'm titanium steel. Shit, you know, none of that fat boy shit. Yes, sir. You know, and that's it. I mean, that's how they run shit over there. That's how they run shit, you know. You fight that motherfucker and you give him the best fucking fight that you can fight him. You do what you want to, but when this shit over, don't talk about Bud. The motherfucker might show up, and if he show up, don't talk to him. Don't talk to him, don't look at him. It's COVID. Nobody ain't gonna say shit, no way. No, everybody's scared of everybody at times. I ain't scared of no motherfucking body, but you ain't. You ain't gonna say shit to Bud. Go and get out of here. You know what I mean? That's what it is. But dude, I'm telling you, that shit, that's the way I see it over there. You know, and then, you know, Errol comes out. I just got off the phone, and he's happy. He's talking to dude. I just got it. I just got through talking to Al. Shit, Al told shit. He talked to me. Shit, he talked a long time. Yeah, he talked like 3 minutes. We talked a long time. Shit, he talked like shit. You know, he gonna set him up for me. He gonna take care of me. Oh, I mean, it is. It's. You know what PBC is like to me? It just hit me. That PBC is like death row. You guys remember Death Row? Anybody used to look that listens to rap, you know? But back in the 90s, Suge Knight was the man at Death Row. And he did shit like, you know, maybe it's not as extreme, maybe fucking not, you know, but you know, it is what it is. You know, Al is Suge Knight. That's what he is. He doesn't like to be talked. He don't like to do interviews. Don't fuck with him. You don't really like to talk to anybody, you know what I mean? And then you got guys like that. It is what it is. Frank Bruno on pads. Frank Bruno on the pads, okay. He's been in a few fights. He has been in a few fights, but interviews he don't do. How many interviews have you seen of Al Haymon? Who's excited for AJ versus Pulev? I don't know why I get nervous when AJ fights. Yeah, I know what you mean. No, I'm with you. Because it's like this kind of uncertainty with fucking AJ. No shit. Real shit. Because you don't know what you're going to get after June. After that June performance, you never know. Because it's almost like a lottery ticket. You know what I'm saying? Or getting on a plane. Like, yo, is this going to be the day? Is this going to be the day? So you really don't know with Joshua. But that is the next video. We will talk about that on a live chat. I got to go work out. I got to go work off some stuff. Guys, it's been fun. Thank you guys for coming on. Everybody in the chat, Hawker Mustang, what's up, brother? Kind of punch to you. Hell no, I don't want to interview Al Haymon. I might not leave that motherfucker. I'll do it through Zoom. But anyway, I have an interview with Teofimo Lopez Sr. today, so stay tuned for that. Check that out. But anyway, everybody on the chat, be blessed, be safe, and you guys have been Counterpunch. Peace.